This is the Information Project, where we had a long chat yesterday, didn't we, with Professor Robert Patman, following, well, gosh, what social media would have said was the beginning of World War III on the weekend, with a extensive drone and missile strike directed towards Israel by Iran. A missile strike involving hundreds of missiles, which was almost completely and utterly neutralised by an international effort, really. British aircraft, American missiles, Jordanian aircraft, the Iron Dome defence system in Israel, and I think something like 99% of all the missiles sent, which were a mixture of drones, medium range, and ICBMs, were shot down or failed. Some of them actually fell in Iran itself because they were so old and malfunctioning. I saw a picture of one drone that ran into some power lines in Jordan. The Jordanians helped as well. And Robert Patman's feeling yesterday was that this was a symbolic strike by the Iranians to prop up that horrific regime inside Iran and provide a domestic propaganda victory, that it had been well signalled enough that it was always going to be repulsed. Nevertheless, it has heightened tensions in the conflict-plagued Middle East, and I guess many were waiting or have been waiting for a response from Israel. And the fear being amongst the fearmongers that it would be a military response or a response in kind and we would somehow tip into World War III. Well, that's not the response we've got. There is an official response from the Israeli government, and it seems to be calling for sanctions. So to find out what that response is, we're joined now by Israel's ambassador to New Zealand, Ran Yaakoby. Ambassador, good to talk to you again. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning to the listeners.
All right. So, rather than tit for tat, after this widespread, though almost completely ineffectual attack by Iran over the weekend, what is it that Israel is calling for? What is Israel's response?
Well, for the Israeli response, we will have to wait and see. But Israel is definitely calling for this coalition and maybe more sensible, like-minded countries to join and harness Iran down, make sure that Iran does not continue to operate as it has operated for decades. It's not the first time that Iran is attacking Israel. It's the first time that Iran is attacking Israel from Iran, but through its proxies for decades. Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis in Yemen, and some militias in Iraq. Iran very well has been trying over and over again to do what its ayatollahs have declared as a raison d'etre of Iran, which is the destruction of the state of Israel. Iran has never accepted the right of Israel to exist, and the world might better listen to what they say.
All right. Are there sanctions you would like to see the international community impose on Iran?
Of course. First and foremost, about the ability to run through, and they are an inch from nuclear weapons capability. Only 6 months ago expired a series of sanctions on Iran regarding its missiles development, and we see what happens when they do use the missiles. We see it in the Ukraine, we see it over the weekend in the Middle East. And of course, there is one big organization that New Zealand did not acknowledge yet as a terror organization, which is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. This is an organization dedicated primarily to operate outside Iran and create havoc around the Middle East and the world.
Yeah. I know there's been no denial that one of the people killed in your strike on the Iranian embassy in Syria, or consulate in Syria, there's been no denial that one of those people was a Revolutionary Guard member who had been involved in the development and planning of attacks on Israel.
Well, just a few mild corrections. A, Israel did not assume responsibility on the strike. B, it wasn't on an embassy. And the third is that it was apparently a meeting of 6 or 7 officers of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, and not only one person. The top
well, if it wasn't an embassy, did you attack?
Strike was the one in charge of Hezbollah's operation.
Right.
Another name to an Iranian proxy in Lebanon and in Syria.
Okay. Who carried out that strike in Syria then?
I don't know, but each has the right to assume.
Okay, well, if people assume it was you guys.
Well, what shall I say about that?
All right, well, you can say yes or no.
I do not know. We did not assume responsibility, and some things are done in the way they are done for obvious reasons.
All right, okay, so I'm going to assume it was you guys, and that's what kicked off this largely symbolic, though large, missile strike. And it seems to me...
I don't think it was symbolic, Sean. Another correction.
Okay, well, how many Israelis were killed by it?
How do you measure... If someone breaks into your house and doesn't steal everything you have, or just breaks, is it not enough?
Well, not one Israeli killed.
It was really if someone attacks a woman and he doesn't rape, is it...
It was almost like they'd told the international community what they were sending and when, so it could be shot down.
Well, it wasn't one rocket, it wasn't 2 rockets, it wasn't a symbol. It was 3 types of weapons. It was 170 UAVs. It was 120 ballistic rockets or missiles. It was 30 cruise missiles. One or more of them were intended to break through. The idea that you send 3 types of weapons and not only one means that you want to hit, not to be intercepted. Intercepted, you send one type of rocket or missile, and you know that one system can deal with it. And you have shown your point. This was not to show a point. This was to attack. Gladly, happily, we have invested more in our defense than in our offense. And the Iranians, since they are selling the weapons around the world, and not to the nice or like-minded countries, have invested the way they have invested. We have seen, 3 Jordanians have been killed en route of those rockets. In Israel, a little 7-year-old girl is now fighting for her life in a hospital. Do we need to measure life for life? No, and I'm not sure that the Israeli intention is to go and kill a 7-year-old girl in Tehran or anywhere else. The idea is to find a way to transmit a message to Iran, and with the help of the global coalition of the like-minded countries, hopefully the transmission of this message will be better done, that you cannot break international law, attack another UN member with such a force, and expect impunity.
Yeah. However, could I ask you, is your government, despite its resolve to ensure its survival and protect its citizens, is your government mindful of the dangers of an escalation of this conflict to involve or encapsulate some sort of world war?
Absolutely. Unlike Iran, unlike Hamas, Hezbollah, and other Iranian proxies that for decades have been trying to create havoc